we've got all our routes for our product, but we don't have any of them for our category. Now, we can do copy and paste and change some things here, but instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to comment this out. My tests are going to end up starting to fail. Okay? I've got a bunch of these tests now that I've got these 404s. And what I'm going to do, something that's a little different here, is that I'm going to export from my database my connection as well. And the reason why I'm going to end up doing this is that I'm going to actually dynamically build out these routes for all of my models. And this is kind of an interesting thing to do in the sense that we could really, I mean, look, if we had many models, we could end up, generating all four of these routes for all these models. Again, you might want to customize this at some point, depending on what the model is. But what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to use object.entries, and this is going to be for my DB connection models. And I'm going to do for each on it. And what I'm going to do for each of these, I'm going to end up getting. So entries actually gives you two items. It gives you a key. I'm going to call this the name of my model, and then a lowercase model itself. And I'm going to just console.log for now the name and the model. And if I go over here, my app is actually running, I'll see that this is the key and this is the model. It looks like they're the same thing, but this is actually, if I was to go type of model, I would see that this is actually a function. My model is actually a function. If I was to go over here and do type of name, obviously if it's an object, right, this is always going to end up being a string. And what I'm going to do here is the name itself we've seen here is singular. And I want to pluralize it. So there's actually a module which we have because Sequelize uses it, but just in case Sequelize doesn't at some point, I'm going to end up installing it. So I'm going to do an npm I, and this is going to be of inflection. It's a very popular library. And what I'm going to end up doing here is I'm going to bring in from inflection pluralize. Again, it's not mine. I'm getting it from my node modules folder. And I'm going to, just for now, pluralize the name. Because again, all my routes, my RESTful routes, they're plural values. So if I go over here, I think I misspelled it. This is doing this because of my package.json changing. And so now I'm able to pluralize this. And what I can end up doing is generating all of these dynamically. So I'm going to grab all these things here. I'm going to yank this out, move this down. So for each of these models, I'm going to end up putting in these routes. So first, let me just sort of help myself out here by saying, the base route is going to be backtick / API / pluralize name. If I just console log that, just so I can see it, I'll see this is my base route. Let me get rid of this other console log that's up here. So this is going to end up being my base route. And what I'm going to end up doing here is that I'm going to go over here and put in, well, for this base route, this is going to be whatever the model is. These are going to be the items. Items. I'm going to do a post to the base route. I'm calling it a base route because we're going to have two of the other ones have some parameters here. And this will be item. So here for the base route, we can make this dynamic. And we'll say this is going to be the base route. And we'll do /ID. And let's actually put this here. And this is going to be model. Probably should have done a global search and replace, but this is going to send back the item and item, and we've got this last one, which is really pretty similar. I think I'm just better off doing this. Get rid of this. And this is going to end up being delete. And this is not going to be find. Well, we'll do the same find, but in this case, we'll do item destroy. Again, when it's destroyed, we'll make it down here. And here we're just going to send our status of 204. And if I didn't make any typing mistakes here, maybe I might have. Let's take a quick look here. And actually, all of our tests are now working, which is great because it just tells me that I probably don't have any typos here. And I could easily go in and set up some tests for my categories as well. But just to also see this, I've got my app running here. So here are my products. Here are my categories. And I've got both those routes. And if I had another model, I'd have the 4 routes for that. And let's just go over here and get rid of this. And at this point, our Express app becomes, pretty manageable.